All right. I think I set up, oops, just enough stuff. And I have this notepad. Let me format this just a little bit, just to make it a little bigger for the people to see and read. This should be fine, right? No, that's in Korean. Zenless Zone 0. CBT 2 to CBT 3. And then we'll cut about the goods of CBT 2, the bads of CBT 2. What can we do to it? Well, no, it's not what can we do. It's what do we want from CBT 3. My hype for the game. There we go. That's how it is. Yeah, see, all right. That's the best. That's the best kind of fucking thing that I want. And of course, I immediately just say the F word. I was gonna tell myself that this is not gonna have any. I'm not gonna swear much. Good job, Eggs. Good job. I managed to literally just swear in the first 5 minutes of me talking. It's gonna be stupid of me. In any case, we know what we want. We know what we got. Let's actually get through the main actress things. So, I think it's good if we just start watching the amplifying test. What was it? The trailer for this thing? Warm up necessary. Yeah. There it is. There you go. Now we're looking at brighter things. All right, so I know it's only like 1 minute, and I think we're given about like couple of stuff. So I've watched this before. It's oh, that is very loud. I've watched this thing before, and it was pretty nice. But I feel like it's much better if we just go step by step. So that was Belobog. Now we have the Victoria House. That's us. So I feel like a lot of the efforts of this has gone towards to the bang boos more than anything, and this is the very first mechanic that we actually see that we did not see from CBT2, and now we're gonna see for CBT3. I'm actually kind of excited about this whole mechanic that's going on right now. I'll go in much more detail later, but it fundamentally touches upon changing one thing, and that is the bang boos. And of course, we have a new character. She sings Ether. She seems to be using Ether for her attacks. That's her ult. Yeah, no, that's got to be Ether. And honestly, that's a really good move on their part, if anything. So, going back. Hold on, let me actually turn on the music in the background. There we go. Okay. So, I love this trailer as a person that has actually played CBT2, and well, it's not really a complaint. It's more of like a biggest worry when I was playing Zenless Zone 0 and CBT2, and it was bang boos. I had a couple of like bits and bobs there about like how I felt about the game, but I think that my biggest worry around CBT2 was definitely within the bang boos, and it was the fact that bang boos are quite broken. Because for those that don't know, bang boos back in CBT2. They had two different passives and an active skill. The active skill can range between the bang boo actually dealing a lot of damage, or doing some kind of other doing some kind of other buffs, or shredding defenses, shredding things off enemies. So if I remember Safety Boo, if you had, they're also very faction based. So if you had Safety Boo. And they would actually improve the penetration stat of all the characters that are from Belobog. Vermilion, which is the was it Vermilion? The one with the Gentle House, the Cunning Hairs. The Cunning Hairs bamboo gave crit damage to all the Cunning Hairs. And basically, Safety Boo was all about bringing this forklift drill and literally drilling onto an enemy, and their defense would be shredded. This one, the cutting hairs one, active was legitimately just spawn a giant minigun and just like fire at a random enemy, or at least closest enemy. Not only were the damages good, like the damage they did was actually insane, but they posed such a incredibly huge passive buffs that kind of pushed content pretty easily if you had the right bang boos with the right what's the word, with the right faction. I believe there's also the gentleman one. If I can find it amongst the thing here, I believe. Wait, hold on. We had him bring the pancake here. So that's the safety boo. Sorry, that's the safety boo. So that guy right there, that's safety boo. I would think that this one was actually kind of really ridiculous. Again, I think it was somewhere around like 20%, 30% penetration in defense shred, and they give us so much penetration for teammates. That's a new one. Actually, no, that is, I think that is an old one. We just haven't used it a lot. Arena, and then there's this guy, the gentleman. So that's the gentleman bang boo, and I also thought this one was stupid. It gave crit rate. By the way, they had double. It had the double effect. If you were using a specific thing. So when I said back then, so actually it applies to the other characters as well. But when you have a gentleman in your party, at least in CBT2, having a gentleman increase your crit rate. And then if you had a Victoria House Company character in the team, they would get double of that crit rate. The fact that the Bangbu pose so much presence in the field of battle, well, actually lack thereof, but the passive presence was incredibly high. For a character that you can't control and they just randomly appear out of nowhere, they had so much overbearing power in the backgrounds that I feel like a lot of people just didn't realize, or people did realize, but they just couldn't put it into words because how effective bang boos were back then. I think they changed the system up a little bit. So usually when you go from a character to character, you just switch into a different character after you do a specific combo or you move around, right? This time it seems like you are swapping into a bang boo and then swapping to your next character if you wish to. I don't know if that costs a resource bar because swapping is a resource. It had a 3 charge and they would recharge over time, of course. If you didn't use it, then the cooldown will keep rolling. I don't know if that consumes an extra charge of a swap. If it does, I think that's a pretty good value. If it doesn't, then it's still fine. It just means you just have another way to use your bang boo. I'm just questioning at this point is because now we can control when the bang boo is coming in to deal damage. Is it going to? Are we actually getting rid of like just randomly moving around the world to deal the damage, or can initiate their active? If that's the case, I'm actually really down for that because just having the bang boos just mindlessly doing everything in the backgrounds without any control from us is kind of stupid, to be fair and honest. And if we're actually making more coordinated attacks with them, that is actually a very big positive for us. I'm actually happy with that. Also, I don't mean to be that guy, but I feel like bang boos should be nerfed a little bit more. I don't know what they're going to happen in CBT3, but I definitely do want them to be nerfed a little bit because the buffs they gave is so ridiculous. If anything, I feel like getting rid of faction-based bonus passive buffs from your bang boos should be removed or should be taken for a different thing. I feel like that should have been a resonance buff. That should be put into the resonance buff. So it's like instead of like just like how in Genshin Impact you would have resonance for having two of the same elements in your same team. The same theory goes around within Zone Zero. Instead of having bang boos tied to your faction buffs, I feel like the factions should have just gotten themselves a buff by just having 2 of them in the same team. Which means if we transition into that, then bang boos having that faction based extra bonus should be deleted. And I feel like that gives you more control over the way you build your teams by your characters than just simply slapping a bang boo and literally just call it a day. Like, you slap a bang boo, you're like, all right, we're good. That's it. That's all we need. That was my biggest thing, right? That was my biggest thing about the bang boos more than anything. Actually, accidentally, because of that, we actually talked about the bad side of CBD2. Let's talk about the goods, right? I think, again, I would like to put a little bit of disclaimer here, is that, you know, everyone's opinions are quite different. Everyone have a different way of interpreting information. Everyone has, you know, different tastes on how the game is supposed to be. They want the game to be played. I get it. I understand it. And this is just one of my takes within it. Some of you may disagree with me on those takes, and I'm okay with that. You know, it's fine. I just don't want people yapping. You know, I feel like if you're just gonna straight up come to me with an aggressive remark, you know, saying I'm stupid, I'm not gonna listen to that, because that is not initiating a discussion. You're just calling me an idiot and calling it a day. I really like the Wuthering Waves video they put out, because a lot of people were very some people were a little bit rude and just didn't really provide much, but a lot of people put their thoughts in their comments, and I've thoroughly enjoyed listening to arguments. To a point where, you know, I would correct myself as well. I was like, maybe I was a bit overboard in some of these opinions, but I would like to, you know, put my 2 cents on that matter as well. I would like the same thing to happen for the Zenless 01 and Suihiro as well. So the goods of the CBD2 is actually the combat. I actually really liked it. It was pretty good. It was simple. It's definitely easier and simpler than Wuthering Waves. But what I liked most about that was the combat in Zenless 0 was just easier for people to just get into. There wasn't much, like, you know, difficulty spike for things to get into. There were actually various ways to switch between the things. Wuthering Waves is basically you can arguably just defeat everyone just by a character alone. Just like how they had an intro, Wuthering Waves had the intro, outro. Hell, Zephyr. Just like how Wooba had intro, outro mechanic. Zenless 0 has a little bit different. So Zenless 0, you could, I don't know what they were called, but you could emergency switch. So when you're hit by the enemy, the moment you're hit by the enemy, you can expend a swap resource for your next character to come in and pretty much cover for the guy that got hit. Another one is parry. So if you had an enemy that was parryable, you could literally just bring up your character, and the character will parry that and get into an offensive. You could dodge / evade, basically the same thing. You had a basically not really much of a cooldown based skill. So technically in Zenless 0, you could spam your skill. That's the thing. You can spam your skills in Zenless 0 as much time as you want. But to offset that, you had the EX version of the skill, which needs energy. And I think that's a very good way to do it, you know, honestly. Call me a weirdo, but now, honestly, by doing that, you weren't exactly cucked out of your a button until they come back, right? In you know, when you're playing Genshin Impact, like, I know if you know your rotations, if you know how to play the game, it's fine. Like, sometimes you want to do multiple skills for with the character, but if your character's on cooldown, your E is kind of off the ground. That's why you have characters in off-field DPS like Chiori. You double E, you tap out. But once you're done with your rotation, you come back. Sometimes it just sucks that if you have extra 3 seconds on your cooldown. In a manner of sense, that just means your rotation was off, but you know what I'm talking about, right? The fact that you are limited out of your E option is kind of unfortunate. So you have to scramble. But in Zenless 0, you didn't have to do that. You press skill, if you had the EX version, it's very much a stronger version and more utility version. But it wasn't. They didn't really cut you out of that button, so you can still use it if you wanted to. Dodging, evading, simpler. It's the same as Wuwa. Parry, a little bit different. Warding waves is you attack the moment the enemy's attacks, but in Zenless Zone Zero you swap into attack. And once you parry, you could do an option to do an additional follow-up damage with that character that you swapped into, or you can just literally swap, like just dash outwards. They had those options as well. Emergency switch-ins just to make sure that when you get hit, you can get right back into the fight. I actually think emergency switch was a really good decision, because if you see in Genshin Impact and Wuthering Waves, if you get hit by an enemy and you got hit by something you get interrupted out of your stance, you have to wait until your character regains consciousness to start swapping back in. Zenless Zone Zero, you can just immediately just switch. You get hit, like your character is like in tumble, but you can expend a resource to have your second character come in and pretty much take up the spot. I thought that was a good idea. That was a good combat. Honestly, some people may say the combat is like way too easy in CBT2. A lot of people have said that, like, you know, it's nothing too special. It's just a hack and slash. But how do you make it like extremely complicated, right? In addition, if you're gonna make it extremely complicated, how are you gonna get people to play in the very beginning, right? It feels like, I get that people want a challenging game. Every game, a community wants to have a challenging game, but I feel like you should also have a game that is rather simple to learn, so when they start, they're not really immediately off put by like very complicated things, and they're like, this is way too complicated for me. I'm not gonna play this game anymore. You should be avoiding that as a game developer, unless you're really down to design a game to like be just straight up nothing but challenging. If that was the case, Wuwa wouldn't be doing whatever they're doing now with their CBT2. Combat was good. The character designs for me were very good. Probably like the extremely wide pool of styles available. Some people may call me a furry, some people may call me a weirdo, but the fact that Zenless Zone Zero did not shy away from giving like anthropomorphic characters. You have it's not even just like you're either an animal or a human. They have varying degrees of it. Like, you have, on one hand, you have, humans like Grace Kaleda, Nicole, humans. And then you have characters like Ellen, who is basically half, like, mostly human. Because she has shark teeth and she has shark tail. But by no means does she look like an actual, like, full-fledged shark. And then you have Ben. This is like literally bear. Legit bear. He is a bear. Like, there's no other way around it. The fact that they had so many ways. Yeah, Ben is a bear. Yes, exactly. Ben is a bear. The fact that you were given so many opportunities to create a character in varying degrees of design excites me a little bit. When it comes out, I hope they actually expand this a little bit more. I'm going to be a little bit disappointed in future ZZZ character pools just become mostly humans, right? For me, I kind of want to see like a bird, right? I want to see a bird unit. It could be mostly human bird, but it could also be a legit bird, like a griffin, if you will. I feel like that's something that Zenless Zone Zero has very good positives. Speaking of designs, animations, they're so springy. I love it. It's very vibrant. and like you can feel the action. It's probably because of the spring emotions, right? There is just the way there. Springy is stretchy. It's very elastic. I think that's the right word. It's a very elastic animation. Probably a lot of people have seen like cutscenes about Nekomata. The way they actually applied animations to Nekomata during cutscenes is kind of insane. Where she is stretching in and out. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Oh, come on. Let me see if I can find Nekomata. Nekomata 0. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I found it. So, oops, I turned off the wrong one. So,
we did it.
So I want to go by like almost frame by frame, I guess, perhaps. So like the way that there's so much animation working into it, it is kind of ridiculous. Hold on, let me, like right here, there's so much elasticity within Nekomata. Everything feels bouncy and very elastic. You can, I don't know how to explain it. This is probably like a really bad point for me to express, but like I gotta say, like they definitely paid so much for this, their animators so well to make the more expression, to make like absolutely expression filled cutscenes and everything. It's not just Nekomata, but Nekomata is definitely one of those characters where it's very expressive because she's a cat. So at every frame, her ears are constantly moving. She's shaking her tail. There's just a lot of animation portions going around in various different places at the same time. And I was like, whoa, okay, that's a lot of animation going in. This is ridiculous. So there's a lot of presentation to be shown. The bads of CBT2, I've said this before, but Bang Boos. Yeah, Bang Boos, a bit too broken. Please nerf them a bit. Also, are they gacha? That's the other question that I want to ask, right? If Bang Boos are gacha, like if they're really strongly tied to gacha, I'm kind of worried, right? I think we're gonna get that answer for CBT3 though. What I want from CBT3 more than anything is basically, goddamn, what's the gacha? So because as far as I'm concerned, chat, gacha is split into three different things. It is split within agents, sorry, not units, agents, W engines, just weapons, and maybe Bang Boos. That's three. If we are legit forced to pull three different things, or three gacha-able things, that, I don't know, to me that's a bit too much. And agents definitely are like the biggest thing about the gacha, because that if you don't have agents, then you don't have a lot of things to play around with. But as far as I'm concerned with CBT2, the W engines, especially their signature engines, their signature weapons, did quite a bit for the character that was adhering to. They had a few W engines that was a very good generalist W engines, but I don't know if some of they're just acquired or if they are all acquired by gacha. And again, the last one is the Bang Boos. Bang Boos is definitely my biggest worry. If Bang Boos are also like extremely high gacha rated things, man, dude, like it scares me a little bit. In hindsight, I'm not as worried because Bang Boos benefit the whole team. So, in an essence, the way Bang Boos, you would pull for Bang Boos is like after you've passed through like 3 different agent banners, right? If agents are separated by banners, you would be passing about 3 different banners, and then you can start considering about a Bang Boo, assuming the agents that comes out are always like applying to specific kind of faction. If the Bang Boos are no longer faction dependent, then hell yeah, definitely you're just gonna look for a specific one and call it a day. That's actually what you gotta do. But the Bang Boos are definitely something that I'm extremely worried about, deathly worried about. Like dude, that's gonna be so scary. And okay, I'm about to drop a hot take, Chad. Okay, I'm about to drop a hot take, and it's because so many people have complained about it. I have had to face so many people against this whole thing, and I feel like people are just not really, at least for me, right? At least for me, I feel like people are not understanding the implications with this system. Is basically, I like hollow exploration. I already like the hollow exploration. I feel people are not giving hollow exploration like a try. I feel like they're looking at Zenless Zone Zero, and the first thing to come up to life. Well, it's not their fault because that's how how the game's marketed. But when they look at Zenless Zone Zero, they're only thinking about like the combat of the game, which is fine. I get it. And again, chat, I get it. But I don't think people give hollow exploration a chance, like not that much of a chance, when I feel like they should. It's to be more clarified. I feel like hollow exploration is their response to saying, "Hey, we can potentially make like an extremely overworld game." But considering how Genshin Impact has been bricking a good number of people's phones and computers, it might be a little bit too demanding. So their next best thing was to not make a super open world and just make something to a specific design to make them feel like they're exploring, but not like be extremely out of their way. And hollow exploration was born, basically. You don't need a lot of memory with that regards. Then you just have a different puzzle things. We already have puzzles in Genshin Impact. We already have puzzles in Star Rail. Hollow exploration is the perfect hybrid of exploring the map on your stage and pretty much solving a puzzle. And at least so far from the CBT2, I feel they did an amazing job with it. Well, not 100% amazing. They still have a lot of things to go to. But I feel like they did a pretty good job with hollow explorations, at least in CBT2, mostly because it's very Mario Party-esque. Not Mario Party, Mario Maker-esque. What I mean by that is that the way they devise up puzzles and devise up exploration segments for hollow exploration is very creative. Sure, there are some repeating ones, but most of the times when I entered a stage and had different kind of scenarios going on, there was always different kind of concepts, new puzzles to go through, and I thought that was a really good job to it. It definitely is a downer for people who wants those puzzles to be a choice, not a must. I get that. That is totally understandable. But for me, I feel like this is like the best second option they can think of, and I feel like that was a good decision on their part. I guess the only people that would complain about hollow exploration are, I don't want to do puzzles, or I have every single device that I can like pretty much handle everything in the open world. I feel like, in a way, Zenless Zone Zero is what I wish Wuwa would be, to a certain degree. Wuthering Waves felt like, too much open world, with not much inside. Anyways. The next thing I want is character balance. I'm not saying the character balance is broken. I'm not saying the balance is not there, but there are some characters that need a bit of a thing. If you came here looking at my thumbnail, This was like the tier list that I made for CBT2. I'm actually surprised it was still there. I feel like Ben is way too high now. I feel like Ben's like right here. I feel like that's the case here. One biggest thing is that the characters that are bad were really bad. There were two characters especially that really struggled in the CBD2, and that was Nicole and Corin. Nicole was just designed very unfortunately, and I don't know if that's because her damage. Like, now that I think about it, I don't know if that's because her kit is just inherently just bad, or she just doesn't have another ether unit to go alongside her, which is great because on CBT3, well, I hope that she's available in CBT3. We have another ether character that has been, revealed, and hopefully I want to try having her with Nicole to see if Nicole was actually good from the start, but she just didn't have anything to work with. There was definitely still a little bit of suffering on like what kind of team comps you would go for. It's like, if you look in this game right now, especially in the CBT2, there are only kind of three characters four characters that helped out with the team, and that was 3.5. Nicole was like the half. Shokaku was a really good support, but you needed to have constellations on her. I wish that was her base kit, but I understand why some changes were made like that way. Grace was an amazing sub DPS, and I feel like Grace is like the perfect embodiment of perfectly balanced. I think she's like the most perfectly balanced character in Zone 0 when it was in CBT2, and hopefully if she stays as is for CBT3, then she will still be a very worthwhile character to pick too. And Rina is just basically an Ayaka, Electro Ayaka. But again, all these characters were pretty good in their own regards. It's just that these two characters massively suffered, and I hope these characters get to see more light in CBT3 if they were buffed, right? That's the balance that I want to see. And then of course, the biggest thing definitely is, hold on, let me lift it up. Please buff Nicole. Doesn't matter how. I'm at a point where I want Nicole buffed, and I honestly do not care how she gets buffed. I just hope she's buffed. That's it. Nicole, yeah, the more I think about it, the more I feel like Nicole just didn't have anything to work with back in the days, back in CVD2. Maybe having a second ether unit might actually unlock her true potential. Who knows? I don't know. Corin was it Corin or Colin? I keep I believe it's Corin. Corin had a problem where, yes, she had a lot of shredding going on, but she didn't interrupt enemies. Like, they didn't kind of get, whenever they got hit, they didn't get stunned or anything. So there are points where even if you want to hold down on your buzzsaw, you have to kind of get out of the way, otherwise you're just going to be knocked out. And Corin just couldn't stand that situation as well as I hoped it would. It's fine. Hopefully they fix it. My hype for this game is still extremely high, though. I feel like I'm probably playing favoritism, but Zenless 0 is definitely a better a better standing in my opinion. I think, again, I feel like the biggest thing is the holo expiration more than anything. I feel like most people just do not like holo expiration, and I feel like they should give him enough chance. I feel like that's what I feel, honestly. Every time I look at people complaining about the CBT2 back then, right? Back then, I was enjoying the CBT2, but when I looked at people's reviews of the game and everything, almost immediately they would just hound on holo expiration. And I was one of those people that kind of disagreed with that take. Is it weird? Yeah. But am I gonna be backing away from that argument? No. Holo expiration I feel like holo expiration is totally needed. If not, I feel like Zenless 0 wouldn't be even available for a lot of people. to be accessed, like actually start up the game. One thing I do want is visual clarity. One thing that I had trouble with Holo Exploration, and this is definitely something I wish they will fix for CPT3, is that the color palette being used in Holo Exploration was very almost monotone, and sometimes it was kind of hard for me to identify where I was, because there was a lot of static, there was a lot of fizzles in here and there. It was just too much dark visual clutter that was really hard to identify what things were there. If they could make that a little bit more pronounced, the visual clarity is improved, then I feel like it will be a lot more easier for the people's eye. Definitely. Anything else that I want to add on top of this? I feel like I've said a lot of things, and then I'm just sitting here. If I've missed out on something, I feel like I'm missing out. Oh, right, Abyss content. Are we getting one? I hope so. CBT2, we had access to Holo Zero, which is basically Zenless Zero's version of Simulated Universe. So we had a Simulated Universe in Zenless Zero. I thought that was pretty good. It was pretty decent, honestly. I don't really mind it. However, CBT2 did not have the Abyss content, so we didn't have like a Memory of Chaos or Spiral Abyss. I'm pretty sure, specifically because it was beta. Like, I'm pretty sure it wasn't because like they didn't want to have it; they just didn't have it ready for us to actually try out, which makes a lot more sense. But if CBT is their final beta, if CBT is their final beta, and after this they're going to go for the direct release, it would make sense for them to give us access to an Abyss content for this one, and we would be. I think my high for the game is more like expectations, and I think the big one is that we probably won't be able to play all agents. Sorry, I feel like we won't be able to play all agents because if this is the final closed beta as they say it is, as we assume it is, then they will most likely simulate it quite similarly to how they would, act on like live service, which means we won't be getting that many rewards or many that many in-game currencies to get a lot of pulls. Or maybe I'm just way too depressed by a Withering Waves CPT2, like them just literally not giving us anything. Who knows? Zenless Zero. We'll just have to see what Hoyo does. But yeah, that's generally a lot of things that I actually talked through. I kind of blasted through all this, but this is just like a one-off situation. I didn't really want it to make it like a super crazy thing, anyways. Anything else you guys want to ask about this game? Because this game is still undergoing, and I know Gama said to me that he probably won't play this game, or at least won't play this as like a pay, like a whale or anything, or a dolphin. I don't think he's gonna even play it as a dolphin, which I get it. I'm just very hyped for this game, and honestly, if this becomes a very wild game for me to play around, I'm willing to just like put down Genshin for a bit, just to enjoy Zenless Zero in its purest form. Star Rail is not much of like a main game for me to actually say I'm gonna quit this game or I'm gonna stop playing this game for a while, because like what I can do is just literally just pop in and out, and I'll be fine with it. Definitely Zenless Zero will kind of conflict with the time and effort that it will take for you to play Genshin Impact, and I'm just kind of curious to see how they will interact within each other. I'm already sick and tired of the Genshin Impact community and the Star Rail community fighting against each other. I just hope Zenless Zero just is not added to the contestants of the fight. If you know what I'm trying to say, right? I wish Zenless Zero is kind of just left alone, and they just kind of grow their own game. Heck, if they create a cult following, that's even better. No peace we fight, people riot. Goddamn Zephyr. Anything would I say? I feel like they don't need to go expand upon the story. The story is extremely slice of lifey, at least at this current moment. It doesn't really explore on like a huge lore dump of the world. Like it's not, what's the word, right? What's the word we're saying? Like, you know how Genshin Impact is, your whole goal is finding your sibling, and your whole goal of Star Rail is pretty much walking the path of Trailblaze while trying to find out who you are and why you have this giant Celeron in your system. Zenless Zero is a little bit lighter than that. Like it kind of portray a lot of like the corruption of like capitalism and stuff like that, I guess. Company corruptions, conspiracy theories, but they don't extremely go out of the way to say like this is a huge deep lore down right now. At least the current story that's been revealed to us thus far. We might actually get a way bigger step up in the story later down the line, but I just don't feel like it. So, oh, that reminds me. What do I do have one more thing to add. Remove energy cost for doing story/side story content. I feel like this is just a mistake from CBT2, but in order for us to do story or side content, I think main story we actually didn't need to spend energy, but side stories, whenever there was like a character story or a side story, we had to use energy. And I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. If they remove that, the game is definitely more accessible for us to play, because energy is definitely the one that kind of cucks everyone out of playing the game more, right? So if they want players to play more of their game, they should at least remove energy costs for a good number of things. Not just Hollow Zero, not just Abyss. If they actually bring in the Abyss, please. That's all I had is to do, right? Anything else? I feel like I'm done saying everything I need to say. Yeah, no, I feel like we're good. Bang Boos, please. Just fix Bang Boos. Oh my god. Fix Bang Boos and we're looking good. I'm not expecting Zenless Zero to be a big hitter like Genshin or even Star Rail. I'm actually expecting Zenless Zero to do less than Star Rail would. Star Rail had like a massive push for stuff, but Zenless Zero is kind of like on the downside, like a down low side, so it won't surprise me if their sales will never reach the peak sales of Star Rail and Genshin Impact. It just doesn't feel like it's going to happen, but I hope that it doesn't. It's not a sign for Hoyoverse to like cut resources on Zenless Zero. You know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I hope just because it wasn't as successful as Genshin and Star Rail, I hope like Zenless Zero doesn't like get thrown out the garbage like immediately. I don't care if it's going to be highly successful. I just want it to be a playable, fun game. Yeah, I'm just very more excited about this in Wuthering Waves. I don't want to be a comparison guy, but I definitely have more fun with CBT2 than Zero. Am I biased? I'm probably biased. I'll admit I'm biased. But hey, I can't play. I can't be like a gamer that just says everything is great, right? Like I have my own opinions, and I'm just going to say that out loud. Basically, don't abandon the game even if it doesn't do well as its sister game. Yep, just don't abandon the game. That's all I ask. It has so much potential. I see potential in it. I feel like people are not looking at the potential of it because of this one thing. That's it. Like, I feel like so many people are complaining about like other things around. Like I've seen people complain about combat. I've seen people complaining about the character designs. I've seen people complain about animations to be a little bit too much for them. I feel like people complain about like the Hollow Zero, but I think at the end of the day, when you just kind of triangulate the source of people's complaints, it always comes down to the subgenre of the main game, which is the hollow exploration. And honestly, they give it a try. Hollow exploration's got so much potential in it. The fact that you might have to play all of them might be a little bit of a downer, but goddamn, hollow exploration is like playing a Super Mario Maker, but in a puzzle form. Heck, like you have like. They made a goddamn tower defense. They made a Sudoku puzzle. They made a ice, like the ice floor puzzle. Like they have a whole whole foundation of Hollow explorations that it is so customizable. It is insane. And I feel like they're not gonna stop. Anyways, any other questions for my boy? Because I feel like this is all the things that I needed to talk. This wasn't going to be an extremely long stream anyway, so I just wanted to go in and yap about it and literally patch this up and then ship it out. I feel like a good number of content that I'm going to do for a little while is going to be like this, just an hour or two of discussions about games or controversies about a game and explain and move on. Will Nicole get the buff she deserves? We'll have to start seeing. The very first thing we need to see about Nicole buffs would be this lady here. This lady could potentially spell like the ultimate fate for Nicole. Like this girl right here. Not her. Not Anton. This girl, this new character that's been revealed, I feel like she is the key to understand how good Nicole actually will be. If Nicole works with her and it turns out not as great, then Nicole is indeed a bad unit in her inherent kit. But if she turns out to be she works pretty decent with her, and like Nicole is able to create anomalies with the new character, then Nicole might have a new value, which I'm going to be very happy about if that's the case. I want Nicole to be a good character, guys. I don't want bad characters. I just want a decent character, and goddamn, CBT2 Nicole was a bad character. Oh, please fix that. Nicole deserves the love. Nicole deserves to be a good character. Heck, Ambi's a very strong character. Billy Kid, actually, he's not extremely good, but he's pretty good. Billy Kid actually can swipe the whole floor if he wants to. But Nicole can't do much by herself. Please help Nicole. I am a part of the Nicole support squad. Oh no. Is it amplifying test thing to sign up for? Yes. The amplifying test is the one that you need to sign up for. They don't really say closed beta 1, 2, and 3, but like I don't remember what the CPT2 was called, but CPT3 is called amplifying test, so just that's what you're expecting out of that. But yeah. God, dude, again, to attest to how springy the animations are, every frame you go to, hold on, I want to see this. No. What's the chat? Do you guys remember what's the thing for like going frame by frame? Is that not a thing? Like, dude, they're so bouncy. I love it. Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, nothing new and cunning here. I feel like I'm also worried about how factions are going to be. I don't know how many factions are going to be. Like, considering that Bangboos are tied to factions, unless they're no longer tied to faction, but like, as long as there's more factions to come out of, there's going to be a lot more things to pull. Nothing's changed on that. Nothing changed on that. They didn't. Okay, first of all, good news, chat. Grace did not get nerfed. First of all, that's all I need. Grace not nerfed. She is still hot as ever. My God. Oh damn. Yeah, nothing changed on Victoria either. Please buff the little lady on the right. She needs a bit more buffs as well. I don't. It's funny that like every time whoever's releases the first exclusive character, they're always going to be. Actually, no, Venti's an exception. No, yeah, Venti's not one of those scenarios. Well, actually, it kind of is. They kind of bring like a new pretty broken way to play the game. It's just Venti got cucked real hard. Venti got cucked real hard because of heavyweights. Zealy and Stariel's still good, but I feel like Ellen's going to be like the same scenario as Zealy will. She's going to be extremely destructive. Her damage is going to be very high. But I feel like like the new characters that comes out after her will probably like be even higher damage. But like she's still going to stay as like a staple choice regardless. Yeah. Everything seems to be fine though. God, I love the protagonists. They're both the chemistry between the siblings are just really well done. So yeah, there are new designs. The first of all, the very front two ones, the one that is blue head, the one in yellow head, those are ones that I haven't seen yet. I think I haven't seen the one on the far left as well. The paper bag is there. The Bangboos on the front three, those are already existence. The guy like this one is the gentleman one. God, that's so weird. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Yeah, no, I don't think I've ever seen that one. The race car. Yeah, no, this one I haven't seen. This one's new. Yeah. Glad to see that. Well, actually, did they actually add another effect? Yeah, no, they added. Ooh, hold on a second. Where is it? Yeah, she. Oh my God, they gave her a smear. That's a smear effect that I've not seen in the main game. That's nice. And then yeah, we have the switch in, I guess. That's a new one. I don't know what that will do. I actually want to see. Rena just being Rena, honestly. I feel like Rena's gonna be unchanged. That's fine. I'm curious about that one. Sorry, I don't respond to anything that's unrelated to what we're talking about right now. This guy used to just make pancakes and would give us energy. This guy was good. Like he was like, "Hey man, you needed the extra energy for your EX skill? Here, I'll make pancakes and I'll give energy to you." And it was kind of nice. He also gave us crit rate, like like just passive, straight up, just crit rate. But now he's literally flinging a goddamn pancake at enemies. So like, what's the deal there? He smacked a guy with a pancake. Okay, I want to know what's down. I want to know what's happening there, basically. And of course, Billy Kid's the usual. Anton's the usual. Yeah, nothing else to be speaking of. But yeah, all right, that's all I have to talk for today. That's it. I feel like everything else is just me repeating over everything. Just make the game good. I can't wait for CP33. It's happening next month, right? Yeah. It's happening next month. Also, now that I'm actually done talking, Magnolia's coming out at 2025. Early release is going to happen like next week, I think. Though I'm not out there to like see what's going to happen. It's just going to happen. Like we'll see what happens. Honestly, I don't really care. It's going to be in the back of my head for the time being. Anyways, I don't know if I want to go live tomorrow. If I do go live, it probably might be Alchemy Stars. I haven't played Alchemy Stars in a long time, and I feel like I've actually returned to Alchemy Stars, and boy, that game is actually fun. I'm enjoying that game. A little too much, maybe. But yeah. I hope you guys have a good day, though. I'm going to just call it now. I have other things to do. This was a short off anyway, so I'll see you guys next time. Possibly tomorrow. Possibly in like 2 or 3 days. I have to edit this video just a little bit, teeny bit, so it can be shown on the YouTube channel. That's all you gotta do. All right, chat. Good night. Have a nice night. I'm going to go eat a Pop-Tart because that dinner that I made was way too spicy. All right. Good night.